everyone! So, the first time I tried to film this, it came out to be like 25 minutes. And I didn't want that. I wanted it to be short. So, we are going to kind of like blaze through this. So, I am here to do my monthly movie review for you guys. This is the first monthly movie review I've ever done, and it is the first of the year, and so we are going to get right into it. I watched 19 movies in January. It's a lot of movies. I spent freaking way too long sitting there watching movies, but I really enjoy movies, and I wanted to share my love of movies with you guys. So I am here to talk about the movies that I watched this month. I will also put them down below, and I'll put the rating next to them and like a little sentence as to what I liked about it. The first movie I watched, I'm going to go in backwards order, so like least to favorite. The first movie I watched was Spirit in the Woods. I did not like this movie. I gave it a 0.5 out of 5 stars. It was supposed to be an homage to Blair Witch Project because they pointed back to it a lot, but it was so poorly done. The acting was terrible. The plot was terrible. Everything about it was awful. And I didn't like this movie. Do not watch this movie. The next movie I watched was In Their Skin. And this has Selma Blair in it. And I liked this movie because I liked the captors in this movie. It's basically about a family that kidnaps another family or like holds them hostage and wants their life. Wants to like take over their life kind of. The dad that kidnapped Selma Blair's family, his acting was so superb that I ended up giving this movie a 2 out of 5 stars instead of a 1 out of 5 stars. Nothing happened in this movie. It was so boring and so forgettable and so weak when it comes to the home invasion genre. It was just not good. 2 out of 5 stars. The next movie I watched a lot of like 3-star movies this month. So the next few I'm going to talk about are 3-star movies. So I watched Hot Pursuit. Definitely average. It was as good as I thought it was going to be, which is not saying a lot because I did not think it was going to be that good. So I ended up giving that movie 3 out of 5 stars. It was just not good. I just didn't find it to be that good. And then I watched Gabriel Iglesias stand-up comedy. I'm not a huge fan of stand-up comedy to begin with, so I don't feel like I can like fairly and accurately rate this because comedy is so objective to the person watching it. But myself, I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Not a huge fan of stand-up comedy, but I like Gabriel Iglesias. The next movie I watched was Dark Ride. If anyone has seen this movie, please let me know. Please tell me how you felt about it. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. It was so average, but so much fun to watch. So I had such a good time. It made me a little anxious at times, so that's why I felt I had to give it a 3 out of 5 stars, because it was average, but it was still so much fun. The next movie I watched, I was so disappointed by this, because I love the actor in this movie so much, and I was like so disappointed. I watched Cottage Country with Tyler Laban, I don't know, and then Malin Ackerman. I love Tyler in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is my number 4 favorite movie of all time. And I was so disappointed by this movie. I am going to review this movie. I'm going to kind of like review this movie in another video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was so average. It was like below average, but I love Tyler with all my heart. So the next movie I watched was The Ouija Experiment. I was so surprised by this movie. I loved this movie. I thought it was going to be awful, but I was so pleasantly surprised by it. I got a little anxious watching this movie. I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't do like the 0.25 or the 0.75. I just think it's stupid. The next movie I watched, I'm going to also review in a future video. I watched Pet with Dominic, he played, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? He played Mary in Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit. Nope, Lord of the Rings. He played Merry in Lord of the Rings. And he's in this movie. And I was engaged the whole time, and I was, like, sucked in and really enjoying it. But it was nothing special. And it was, like, poorly average, if that makes any sense. I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm also going to review this movie because I feel like there's stuff in it that I have to talk about, but I can't talk about in this review. Hi, you're so sweet. You're snuggling with a little blanket. Hi. Sorry. My dog is in here, which is a poor choice. The next movie I watched was The Pact. I really liked this movie a lot. I found it to be very good. The one thing that made it stand out was the twist at the end. And also, her acting was surprisingly good. So, I highly recommend these, like, 4 to 5 star movies. I just highly recommend. So I highly recommend The Pact. I found it to be very good. Don't expect awesomeness out of this movie. But if you're going into it expecting it to be terrible, then it'll probably be surprisingly good. The next movie I want to talk about, I'm going to also review. I'm going to review 7 of these movies. And it's called Avenged. And I thought this movie was not going to be good. I was expecting, like, a All the Boys Love Mandy Lane kind of thing with this movie. But it felt like a sci-fi movie, like a movie on the channel Sci-Fi that was surprisingly fantastic. Her acting is so good. It's about a girl that gets raped by a bunch of these men in, like, the New Mexico desert, and then they kill her, and then she, like, comes back as, like, this Apache spirit. And it was really good. It was, like, surprisingly good. I expected poor from this movie, but it was surprisingly good. The next movie I watched was Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with Tina Fey and Martin Freeman and what's her name? Margot Robbie. I like Tina Fey's dry humor in that movie because it feels so freaking real. It was so funny. But that's kind of all it had going for it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars because it, like, impacted me so deeply, but it wasn't, I don't know. I feel like 4 out of 5 stars is not a good rating for this movie. I feel like it'd be better at, like, a 3 out of 5 stars, but the ending, like, kind of, like, took me. I don't know. I don't know what to talk about this movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, which I don't think is fair. But I'd probably give it, like, a 3 out of 5 stars. It was, like, surprisingly average, but above average, like 3.5. I watched Sinister. I haven't seen Sinister in a long time, and I ended up being pleasantly surprised by it. It's nothing special. It's nothing, like, incredible. The one thing that really made it good, I felt, was the videotapes in the movie that Ethan Hawke is watching so he can write his book. I found those to be kind of like the feature point of that movie, which was kind of disappointing. The next movie I'm going to review, I watched Buried with Ryan Reynolds. Second Ryan Reynolds movie I watched this month. I watched Buried. This movie freaking shook me to the core. Like, it knocked my feet out from under me, and I was so torn up by this movie. It, like, killed me. I'll review this movie, so I can't talk about it too much, but it was so good. Next I watched Book of Life, which I was, like, pleasantly surprised by. I love a good animated movie, though, so I love that movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go out and watch it. I highly recommend it. I watched Maggie. Book of Life, or Buried got 4.5, Book of Life got 5 stars, and Maggie gets 5 stars. The best way to describe this movie is it's a zombie movie, but it's like your family member starts turning into a zombie, so how do you handle that? I think that's the best way to describe it. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Next movie I watched is my third favorite movie of all time. I've seen it 100,000 times, but I have to put it on this list because I have to gush about it. I watched Fargo, the Coen Brothers film. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. All-time favorite movie of life. Oh my gosh, that movie's amazing. The next Coen Brothers movie I watched was No Country for Old Men. I was hesitant about this movie because I thought it was going to be kind of weak or like very action-y, but it was so incredibly good. It was so focused on the characters and the dialogue. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I'm going to review that one too. The next 2 movies I watched are tied for first place. I can't like separate them out. They're just tied for first place. I watched The Voices with Ryan Reynolds. I loved everything about this movie except for the end credits. The end credits kind of like took me out of the movie and just kind of ruined my experience. And the next movie, the next movie I watched in January was so good. I watched Split with James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy and the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. I watched Split. I was not offended by it. I loved this movie. I thought it was amazing. I thought the twist at the end was amazing. I thought his acting was amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy was amazing. Count how many times I say amazing in this video, especially during this part. I thought this movie was absolutely incredible, and I thought that M. Night Shyamalan did such a good job. So, that's it for my movies for the month. This video is like half the length of the other video, so I'm going to upload this one. Yeah, so that's all I have to talk about in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really seriously hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to pick back up with like my movie or my video making mojo, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye. Here's my dog being cute.